imagine if you will, it's 1989. Yeah, how many times have I had to refer to that year in my videos? Nintendo's just released their Game Boy, which has helped release the portable gaming revolution cake out of the oven, and all the video game manufacturers wanted a slice. Now, I've already talked about the Atari Lynx, this particular model being the Atari Lynx 2. I didn't like it too much, as you know from my review, but I'll be honest, I didn't have a good game selection. And the Lynx had its spot, but Sega also released their Game Gear, and both of these guys were out for Game Boy blood. Or they wanted to slice that cake, I don't remember anymore. The Atari Lynx didn't last very long. The Atari Lynx was killed off about 3 years after it was released, while the Game Gear lasted around 1997 or so. So while neither one of them succeeded in their mission to kill the Game Boy, well, the Lynx just died. And the Game Gear, it didn't kill the Game Boy, but it kind of succeeded in killing the Lynx, so that kind of worked for that. It was a little bit cheaper than the Lynx, and it's a little bit smaller too. It's a little bit more comfortable to hold as well as compared to the Lynx. There's more of a grip to it. The molding of the game fits to your hands better. It still eats batteries. Unfortunately, it takes 3 AA batteries. Both the Game Gear and the Lynx had a color screen, and that was the main focus of their marketing. You know, step away from the crowd. We've got a color screen, you know. So, now we're going to do rapid-fire size comparison. So if you don't have a Game Gear on hand, you can get an idea of how big one is. Alright, rapid-fire size comparison. DSi. iPod Touch. PSP. PSP Go. The original Game Boy. I don't think I got that in the shop with it yet. And the Game Boy Micro. Okay, that was a low blow. I apologize. So, as with the Lynx, I only have 3 games for review. But, you know, keep in mind, if I don't have the game, I can't review it for you, unfortunately. But these are a good selection, in my opinion. I've got Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 for the Game Gear, and Super Smash TV. So, we'll just try the regular Sonic the Hedgehog game for starters. So, on the top here we've got the power switch, AC adapter slot, external connector, headphones, volume control, and you've got the brightness control. Brightness control right there, which kind of is like more like a contrast control, kind of like on the Lynx. And the game is dirty. That's fantastic. Yeah. The battery life wasn't anything special on the Game Gear either, though I'd say it was on par with, if not slightly better than the Lynx. Definitely not as good as the Game Boy's was, though. Where's the sound? Oh, I had it turned down. That usually helps. Let's see, can we get a better picture for the camera? That's about it. That's about what we're looking at here. The speakers on this thing are really loud. They go pretty loud. Now I've got it at full volume. Ready? Sorry, I'm playing through the viewfinder in the camera. There's that glitch in the game where you could pass the whole level. Well, almost all of it. So now you've got a taste of the game footage. It was a wider screen than the Game Boy, and it was in color. The screen doesn't look that bad, actually. But it's about the same as the Lynx. I'm going to refer to the Lynx and the Game Boy a lot. Now, when it came to helping get the Game Gear off the ground, it was good that Sega already had Sonic the Hedgehog to help them out. Because Sonic the Hedgehog had already had a great fan base from the Sega Genesis. And what's cool is that the Sonic the Hedgehog games for the Game Gear weren't just ports of the Genesis games. They were totally unique in their own way. New levels, totally new environments to keep the game fresh. And it was also done to keep the Sega Master System going for a little while longer. Because the Sega Master System, if you don't know, was Sega's 8-bit console at the time the NES was alive. And when Sonic the Hedgehog came out on the Genesis, these games were on the Master System, and then they brought them over to the Game Gear as well. So these new games, they helped the Game Gear get off to a fresh start, a good start, and they helped keep the Master System going for a little while longer. But I'll tell you what, these games are pretty difficult, especially Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Game Gear / Master System. Let me boot it up and show you. Unlike Sonic the Hedgehog 1 in the Game Gear, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is a level select. So I'm going to skip right ahead to the final boss, and I'll show you what exactly I mean. None of the boss fights have rings. All of the boss fights you're going in with 0 rings, and the final boss, I still have yet to figure out how to beat him. I mean, I know I could just go online on the FAQ or something and find out. That was me being stupid getting hit with the lightning there. But this game is incredibly difficult, and I don't know, I can't see beating it anytime soon. But let's go ahead and look at Super Smash TV on the Game Gear. I do like the Super Nintendo version a lot. It's got the music, but can I skip any of this, please? Oh, I would just like to skip this. Oh boy, can you imagine watching this every time you turn it on? Alright, play. Fix the brightness here for you. There we go. It's about as best as I'm gonna get it. These older screens don't like cameras too much, I guess. Basically, with the controls, since you don't have 4 buttons like on a Super Nintendo controller, I'm going to reference that version a lot because that's the one I know. The 2-button shoots in the direction you're facing, and the 1-button shoots in the opposite direction you're facing. So it's a control scheme that definitely takes getting used to, and it's something that I haven't quite gotten used to yet. But it's the Game Gear, so it's a little bit more limited, like there's less enemies on the screen at a time. And the graphics are obviously toned down, duh. But, you know, it's portable Smash TV, so, you know, in the year 1990, you'll take what you can get. And for 1990, keep in mind, the Game Gear and the Atari Lynx weren't bad for their time at all. I mean, sure, by now, they're nothing more than NES-like graphics, and the consoles are freaking huge. I mean, it's like now, in the year 2010, we've got iPod Touches that look like this. But 20 years ago, these things were revolutionary. They were fun, and if you wanted Sonic the Hedgehog or Smash TV on the go, you were running out and putting this on your credit card just like that. So, that's the Game Gear for you. That's about all I can really say about it. It was, in my opinion, a little bit better than the Atari Lynx, and it does have a good share of games. I do want to build upon the library to play some more games, because I know there are some good ones out there. And I know there's good games for the Lynx, too. Eventually I will buy games for that. But that is the Game Gear by Sega. And thank you for watching. And I hit the camera to finish the video off. Fantastic.